listen. It's good! Friends, it is official. It's the day we've been waiting for so long. It is January 16th, 2025, and today, this morning, my friends, we got the word. Path of Exile, patch 0.11. Friends, the Arvil's Wheel unique shield no longer has 40 to 60% increased block chance. It now provides plus 40 to 60 to maximum life and plus 40 to 60 to maximum mana.
Wow.
This is huge. It's huge.
I'm going to quit my job.
I don't know what else you can do.
I need to focus on this in full.
Thank you. Someone who gets it. I said this to my wife and family. They're like, what are you? But this is why we do this podcast.
This is why. You're right.
Well, that's the show. There's nothing else to talk about. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Right.
No, hang on. I forgot one thing. How are you?
Oh, that's so nice of you. I'm doing good. I'm involved in some very interesting things at work. I guess the kind of things you tell your grandkids, or I guess my grandcats about. I mean, I'm definitely not. No child is passing through this vagina. Let me tell you.
Hopefully, no cats are passing through there either. But
definitely not. But
your cats would have to have babies in order to be a grandmother to a cat.
I don't. Right? You know, I'm not. Let's not even go there. But the point
as Bob
of all
Barker
this
would say, please have your pet spayed and neutered.
Well, it's kind of neat because, as I was telling Matt a little bit before we started recording, dear listeners, I am in the lead up right now to the relaunch of Playboy's physical magazine, which they stopped making for a while. Not everyone knew that.
A long while back. Do you know when they went out of print? It's been 10 years, maybe.
No, not that long. Not that long.
Really?
I would type it, but then I'm going to make annoying clackety noises.
I mean, look, we can. Yeah.
But no, it hasn't been that long. But I think, there's definitely was a turn towards, people aren't buying magazines as much anymore, et cetera. It doesn't make sense to keep doing it, which is kind of sad. It's this long legacy, 72 years. And,
2020, March 2020, citing COVID, among other things, of like people not going out to stores to buy magazines. But wow, that's so recent. I thought it was much.
Yeah,
earlier.
A lot of people did. A lot of people didn't know it had even stopped. And I think what's really interesting about it is that we got constant comments and requests from people saying, I collected it.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad that, it's stopped now. And, we thought about that a lot, and we thought about, all the different pieces of what that entails. But in the end, I think we decided, there's a happy medium, right? And so the happy medium is for there to be a limited number of issues per year. It will not be monthly, but it will still be, collectible, and it will still be full of killer interviews and all the things that Playboy is known for and has been known for. So it's kind of neat because I get to have my hands in that. I did not write anything in the magazine. I'm just a part of the production team that is promoting and, getting it out into the world. But the Playboy website is me, and it's full of all of that stuff right now. So it's kind of neat. It's neat to be a part of like a little piece of history, I guess.
It's very cool. And I think it will be well received because we are in a world where, I think the world is getting weary of everything being so digital and instant and whatever. And it's obviously great in many regards, but I think the return of a very historical is not the right word, but the return of a physical printed thing that the culture has fond memories of is a moment for the culture and for the brand, of course.
Many people have said this, so I don't think there's anything remotely new about this thought. But I think that much like, people got super obsessed with social media, now a lot of people are like backing off of social media or, don't want to be on it as much or don't want to be on it at all or whatever. I think the same thing is going to come with reading online versus reading reading physical things. Like I personally, I enjoy my Kindle for travel, but I've continued to buy physical books. I just love physical books. They make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I can, it's interesting. Like when I go to Barnes and Noble, which I really enjoy doing because I like keeping them in business. So I buy my books there. I really enjoy going there and seeing like how many people are just mulling about the magazine section. It's kind of neat. Like I wouldn't have actually thought that was going to be the case, but like there's always people reading. And I'm like, neat. That's kind of neat. So
I like seeing that in the bookstore when we do get over there, because I don't really know what the magazine landscape is these days. But at Barnes and Noble, it's like a lot of hyper specific things, and so so seeing people pour over that. But what depresses the shit out of me is like going to the supermarket and you see like Life and Time and all these like, old school magazines at the checkout. And they're always like the real story of Jesus or like Elvis, was he the greatest? And I'm like, oh my God, this is only for 80-year-old people who just, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, but those people are still right. Like, how everywhere you go, like, when you're shopping, there's like a section where you are forced to look at things while you're waiting. And
but like, show me. But here's where it really hurt. Then was it Time? I think it's Time magazine. Ooh, I got to check this. But there are issues now that are like Dungeons and Dragons, the game that changed the world. And then I see that, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Oh fuck, I'm old as fuck, aren't I? Fuck. I'm going to buy this. They got me. They made a magazine cover with a D20 on it. And I thought like, maybe I'm going to buy that. And we did fucking buy it because my daughter loves it. And we play with neighbors down the block. And, but I'm like, shit, this is, they put the way Elvis sells magazines to boomers, this D20, they did one on Pokemon. They did one on Minecraft. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But on the other hand, I'm kind of like, look, every generation is going to have a thing where like we loved it when we were young and then they're going to try to sell it to us again when we're old. And it's going to work.
This is Hollywood. Yeah, this is everything right now. It's all of it, obviously.
Right? It's all of it. So, I think my true cringe moment, I don't know if you remember this, but, I feel like we're close enough in age that you will. There was a commercial on TV when I was growing up. I was either single digits or very young teens. And it was for some sort of like alert system you could use if you lived alone and you were elderly.
Oh, of course.
And a lady fell on the floor and she said, "I've fallen and I can't get up."
Of course.
Right. Like we laughed about that shit forever. But like if I ever fall and can't get up and I think about that, I'm going to be the saddest person on planet Earth. I might just lay down and die.
No, I think there's the only recourse you have is to instantly die.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of, this is unrelated, and this is unrelated in every possible way to video games, to all the things we're talking about.
But it is breaking.
Well, I just thought it made for a really funny story, so I'm going to tell it because it partially happened today. It was in two parts. Okay, so here's my story that has nothing to do with video games. So it's quite cold in Atlanta. For Atlanta at one time we might have said like, oh, that's 50s or 40s or whatever, and now it's more like teens and 20s. Mm-hmm. So it's like real cold to me, right?
Yeah.
And so like, I have sweaters and sweatshirts and jackets and stuff, but I don't have a lot of pants so like that are like built for the weather. So everywhere I would go, I'd be like, fuck, my legs are so cold. And I'm like, this is a real problem. So like I buy some like lined leggings and I'm like, this is better, but like sometimes it's still not enough, And so Patrick is like, have you ever considered maybe like flannel lined jeans? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Where do you even buy that? Like, that's not something I would normally buy.
I want these, but the brand of jeans that I really like never has them in stock.
Would never make a thing
size.
Like that.
No, they do make them. No, they do. Oh, it's good, but because I'm a very slight gentleman, shall we say?
Slight.
They don't make jeans for chopstick legs. Okay, is what
Oh,
I'm trying to say.
chopstick legs. That's your new name. So anyhow, so I'm thinking to myself, well, that almost kind of sounds like a thing you wear, like, I don't know, on the farm or like when you're doing like outdoor work, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, like, well, what, I guess I need to go to that kind of store. So I look around a little bit, and then Patrick says, you know who I bet would have that? Like, he was Googling, and he's like, look, he's like, Bass Pro Shops has it. Okay. Have you ever set foot in a Bass Pro Shops? I have not, because let me tell you, for those of you who have never, it is like the center of the like hunting, fishing, killing, I love guns. Like it's like for that guy and like or girl. And I could not want less to know anybody who likes those things.
Do they sell guns and ammunition though?
Yep.
They do. Okay.
Yeah, you walk in and like it's crazy. So clearly I had to go, right? So you walk in and like the whole inner air, like the walk-in area, there's a desk on the left where people can help you, but then on the right it looks like it all looks like a cabin, and like you can sit down on like a leather sofa and they have like a fireplace roaring. And then you look up and there's like animal heads like everywhere.
Yeah, not this particular place. I've never seen like guns just, for sale in a place like this. To me,
it was the weirdest because it's like, I don't know if you've ever had a situation where you're like in a place and you look around and you are like, I am in the enemy's lair, but that's kind of what it felt like to 100%.
Me. 100%.
Like I look around and I'm like listening over, like I'm listening to people's conversations, and I found my jeans and I was like, oh, that's a decent price. Okay, they fit. I'll leave. And I'm like, I don't ever want to come back here again. Not because they don't clearly carry quality products, but because it just felt so weird. I was like,
weird.
Yeah, I was like, this is just the strangest, like, and then I'm just like, man, I think I'm just surrounded by people that voted for Trump, and it just feels funky and like, I don't know, like, and so that was my my adventure to Bass Pro Shops, which I did get 2 very nice flannel shirts and a pair of flannel line jeans.
I'm
but
jealous.
I'll probably never go there again.
I mean, they might have a website or 2. Yeah,
they do.
They do. To get that on. But you gotta.
And now I have
to
pry myself off their mailing list, because now they're like, can we send you emails? And I'm like, please don't.
You want these fishing rods? We got fishing rods.
Yeah, so that's my story.
Oh man, I thought you were going to go somewhere completely different. You have a lot of stories to tell for this program.
I have another story to tell?
I think you do.
Did I forget it already?
I don't know. Well, you were going to cover someone we lost recently.
Oh, right. Thank you. Okay, I needed that cue because I wasn't sure what part of the show. So,
wait, hang on.
So, sorry, I was taking a glass of water at a sip of water at the very moment that ended.
How dare you?
I found out today while at work, while in the midst of a very busy day in which I had to pivot to this, not because I work in news, but because it's the kind of cultural change that I feel like Playboy does cover. I found out that David Lynch passed away, which I had read earlier in the week that he also was displaced from his home because of the fires.
Wow. Oh my God. Jesus.
Yeah. So the family posted it, and then they said, like, please, we'd like some time. And I was like, fuck. I was like, I started thinking about things like, man, like he probably died away from home if his home was still there, and all these sad things. And I was like, blah. But I don't know. I find that I feel different people's passings differently. Some people I'll be like, yeah, whatever. I always thought that he was just the most enigmatic, fascinating figure.
Sure.
And I remember as a teenager, one of the first truly weird movies I saw was Eraserhead. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is fucking terrifying. What is this? But I loved weird movies and I loved horror movies. So that was my first David Lynch experience, and I was a devoted fan of his whole life. I adored Twin Peaks. I saw every movie that came out, Dune, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, like Lost Highway. I saw all that stuff in the theater. And so it's just a really weird feeling. It's the weirdest feeling always, like when a person winks out of existence, that you're like, wow, that was a one of a kind.
But and you know them, because I mean, you don't know them, but when an artist dies and you're a fan of theirs, you have spent many years with them, you with their heart and soul, you know what I mean? And so, I am trying to think now. We're in this weird middle-aged place where our heroes that were, in their 20s and 30s when we were young are getting up there.
Yeah.
And now, I can't think, like, I have many heroes, but I don't know that I don't remember anyone dying that I was like devastated by.
I do. David Bowie and Michael Jackson.
Sure.
Those were bad.
Yeah.
And both of them were like out of fucking nowhere. I remember exactly where I was for both of those things.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to say,
power, David Lynch.
Yeah. What truly a visionary that I think had such an effect on me and on my concept of film.
Yep.
Growing up and in my teens and 20s, and was never going to fit in the box, never even wanted to try. And I so admire that.
I keep coming across Twin Peaks in conversations in podcasts and things, because I do listen to just listen to a stupid amount of podcasts and occasionally stuff that's like, oh, we're rewatching this series, or we're looking at this movie, or we're referencing this thing. And I feel like I've heard Twin Peaks come up a lot more recently, just in these conversations. And every time I hear it, I'm like, maybe I should sit down with it. Maybe I should just watch it start to finish, and, I assume it does hold up. I don't know if you've seen it recently.
I've watched it a few times. I haven't watched it super recently. I'd love to watch. I mean, let's be fair. Like, I'm going to fire up some of his stuff, in memory. But I am not, I cannot say hold up is really, really hard, like with his stuff, because it's not, everything he made always feels like it's out of time and space. Like, it does not feel like the 90s or the 2000s,
which is why I am very curious to see what it feels like, because you name any other 90s show, you look at it and you're like, okay, this is from the 90s. It has all the 90s-ness on it, but that is very fascinating to me, what you're saying. I mean, I guess
from like, if you'd never seen it and you went to it, you might be like, oh, this feels 90s, I guess. But like the way the X-Files does.
Tone-wise, sure. Yeah.
But I don't know.
I've never seen it. I've never seen an episode. It's a couple of seasons, right? It's 2-3 seasons, right? So it's not, I think, like,
but it's tremendous. Like, I mean, no matter how weird someone tells you it is, it's weirder.
Yeah, that really intrigues me. So perhaps I will. You should
watch just watch the first episode, like, and if you're hooked, you'll know it. And if you're
do you think this is an interesting question, because TV is so different now? Do you think I would understand what I was in for after episode 1?
No one would.
No, I just mean, like, how to phrase this? Look, I know you don't like Seinfeld, but like the first couple episodes of Seinfeld and Cheers and all these like classic sitcoms that went on to be monsters were terrible. They were terrible. So if you said, you never saw Seinfeld? Go watch episode 1. That would be bad advice. So I guess I'm, you know what I mean? Does Twin Peaks have this?
Twin Peaks is tonally on from the very first episode.
The moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't get good. Whatever it is doing, it's doing from the first second. From
minute 1. Yeah. That's compelling. That's extremely compelling to me.
Yeah. So like, and I feel, and it's interesting, right, with his stuff, because I feel like you bounce, either you love it or like it doesn't leave people like meh. You either love it or you bounce violently off of it.
Yep.
Those are your options.
Yep. Great. All right. I'll think on this.
May I also just add, as a small side note before we move on from this, that Kyle MacLachlan is devastatingly good looking in this show.
Oh my God.
You do not have to be a woman to appreciate this. Like, he is so beautiful that you're just like, Wow. And his character is so incredibly weird. Like, okay, that's it. I'm done.
Cosign 100% as a the straightest man I could probably be. That guy is he's got
He's
it.
the best. Should we talk about video games though?
Let's do it.
That instead of getting to obviously the gigantic news in games that's happened today, I was like, let's talk about how hot Kyle MacLachlan is for 5 minutes.
Top story. We should do a Kyle MacLachlan segment on every episode.
Oh, I would scream. I would love it. I still love him, even though he's like much older now. I'm just like, he's the best.
He still looks pretty good to me.
He does. But that
Path
said, you know
of
what looks
Exile
even
2,
better?
0.11. Let me tell you something. The Gamble Sprint unique boots now provide 15 to 25% to lightning resistance. Previously, it was 5 to 15%. Obviously, we all know that.
The people listening to this show are literally like, Matt, shut the fuck up.
And now provide 10 to 15% increased item rarity. That's huge. That's huge.
Right.
All right. What else is on the docket?
Well, you know, we sometimes like to say, we like to talk about this little company out of Japan. I don't know if you guys know them. Nintendo, you know?
Yeah.
So I heard that they're going to make something, a thing. It's called the Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh, shit. We got to do a podcast about this.
You know, I think what's best for me to do now is for me to back off the mic and actually make the sound that I made this morning when I heard the news.
Back away. All right.
Are you ready?
Give yourself 3 to 5 feet.
Yeah,
I would say.
I will. Okay, here we go.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Did an orangutan come into your house?
No, that's me.
Oh shit. That was you. Okay.
I'm only here to make the listeners laugh. I think my poor cat's probably like bolted when I made that noise. I don't even know where they are.
Thank God you don't share walls with anyone anymore.
But you may be thinking like, why am I this excited about what essentially is a pretty straight, much cleaner, very black looking Switch?
And one that we pretty much knew all the details about already.
Yes, but like, I don't know, man. I'm still excited. Like, look, this is one of my favorite, this is in my top 3 favorite consoles of all time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to play this for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yep.
It's going to come out and I'm going to be like, man, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play Stardew on this. Because it's going to look so good.
This souped up NVIDIA chip can render at 4K. And what's the first game out of the gates? Just Vampire Survivors.
I know. I texted a friend this morning and I was like, I'm going to be able to see so much more of Stardew on that screen.
So many pixels, bro.
But that said, you know, a beefier, stronger Switch with, I don't know, it's interesting. I don't know how to. Okay, so I love that they did the all black with like the really elegant, like they still use the colors, but they made them much more like elegant. Like it looks less like a kid's console and more like a modern, sleek console with the way they did it.
So I think there's going to be multiple colors.
Do you?
Look, maybe I'm getting biased by the leaks and the 3D renders because I think a lot of the leaks were showing it in white and showing all different other stuff. But those might have just been like, hey, we took the 3D computer models and just printed out what we think it will be rather than what is officially going to be available. So this is a great question about how many colors will this come in at launch?
I don't know. It's interesting. I kind of have a gut feeling that it's just going to be black, but
interesting.
Could be wrong. Let's see.
Yeah, that's super safe. It's super safe, which is you know.
But I love a white console. I don't know if you remember this because I know you told me you didn't get one, but like when the PSP was like having its time, man, Sony went off. And like I had a friend who would like import them from Japan and Japan made many colors.
Way better colors. Yeah.
Oh my God. And so he had like 5 of them all in different colors, but they were gorgeous. Those colors were like the most like, they just had amazing like depth. They were like these jewel tones, and they made white ones, they made pastel ones.
Totally.
And I was like, man,
I'm seeing them in my mind's eye here.
Nintendo
already.
could make so much money. Even if it made a few variants, it could make so much money.
I wonder, there must be some math of like, this is going to be the, second biggest, if not the biggest console in the world. If it delivers everything that the market wants, which it probably will, there must be a spreadsheet that's like, well, we could spin up all these factories to make this or that, or we could just make it black and then we'll still sell all of them, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's the thing. It's like they probably don't. I feel like there weren't a lot of like, I thought with like the Joy-Cons, I was like, man, you could make so many different versions.
They will
just aesthetically, but like they didn't though. Like not official ones. They made a few.
They made it
like, but I mean, you know what I'm saying?
They made
like,
enough. You know what? They made a variety of colors, and then they made like some pastel ones, and then they made here's the limited edition Animal Crossing ones, and here's the one with the Triforce on it. So like, how many Joy-Cons does anyone need? Joy-Cons also suck ass, like as a controller.
Yeah, man. I really hope that like the drift problem is fixed for this iteration, because that sucks.
It will, because they lost a lot of money in a big lawsuit, and also probably spent tons of money repair. Like everyone who owned a Switch between 2017 and now has sent their Joy-Cons back to Nintendo. And they repaired them for free. Good on them. But like, that's a bunch of labor and parts and work that they're not. Every third-party controller that I see on Amazon, and I own a variety of them here, they all have Hall effect sticks now. It's like industry standard.
Wow.
There's no way these fucking Joy-Cons won't have Hall effect sticks for sure. Like,
yeah,
I would be shocked if they do not. My issue with the drifting sucks, but all controllers drift. I had Xbox controllers that kind of shit out.
Yeah.
I just want them to not feel like shitty, clicky, cheap buttons and plastic. Like, I want them to feel a bit good. They are bigger. We can get into what has actually been revealed and what they showed in this video and what the media is speculating, but they are definitely bigger, and to my eye, the buttons look bigger and flatter. So I am really hoping from like a comfort point of view that they will be a little bit more. I don't know.
They look about the same to me, but okay. I'm going to rewatch the video because I've watched it once today, so maybe I'll get a better look at it.
It's so hard to judge from just.
Because the way they move it, like, I mean, and also like, they're doing all this sexy, like, it's moving, and so it's like hard to really. It is cool the way they started with the screen getting bigger first, though.
It's a great video. Just from a presentation and animation point of view, I thought it was absolutely delightful, and I thought it was extremely well done. It is just a bit of a womp because they're clearly being like, check it out, there's a USB thing on the top. And I'm sitting there like, okay, I already knew that. Check it out, the screen is bigger. Check, knew that as well. So these little moments that they're like teasing and revealing were not, did not surprise and delight, which is a shame.
They still have to do it that way, I guess.
For sure. I mean,
like, that's the thing.
I'm sure the mainstream audience is not following the leakers and whatever, so.
I mean, it's really hard to tell. Like, they definitely show off the Joy-Cons being bigger, which, I mean, of course, they have to be to match the screen being bigger. But I can't, it's really hard to tell if the buttons. I mean, if the buttons were the same size, I guess it wouldn't quite make sense because the system's bigger. So they're probably a little bit bigger.
The thing that I'm getting at or feeling optimistic about is that they're a bit more flush to the Joy-Con, meaning they don't pop off as much, and hopefully don't make that like clicky chiclet sound.
Yep.
This is a little off topic, but I've become a huge fan of mechanical switches on controllers, which seems to be a somewhat new thing. There aren't many controllers with it, but they click like a mouse will click. So they make a like a kind of sound when you they sound to my ear very precise as opposed to very mushy and mashy the way a lot of Xbox and Switch Pro controller sounds. Anyway, so I don't know that these are them, but I almost exclusively use third-party controllers now because I am so irritated by various sounds. Anyway, so I'm hopeful that these are. I don't know why are controllers so fucking loud? They're just buttons. Just make them put some padding under there or something.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's interesting because I think that like there's the mechanical keyboard school that loves those noises, and then there's like the Apple school that doesn't like them and likes things to be silent as possible. I'm the latter.
See, I mean, it's weird. I'm weird and have weird sensitivities, but I fucking hate the sound of a MacBook keyboard. It makes me want to jump out a window because it's not about the loudness; it's about the the type of sound. Anyway, so. Yeah, and I have a mechanical keyboard, but I have silent switches, so they're not like they're not like inaudible, but they are very soft sounding as opposed to clacky sounding. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, no, that I think I know what you mean. Well, let's hope, right?
Yeah. Either way, like I mean, I want this thing to have horsepower and or upscaling, like when none of this was revealed, but as we've discussed at length, I want to play all of my Switch games at 60 frames per second, 60 frames, 1080p. I don't care about 4K. I'm not playing them on a computer monitor. I'm laying down in the living room and I just want the game to feel nice. I just want Zelda and Metroid and Mario Kart to feel nice when you're doing stuff.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. I saw the screen and my first thought was like, I never upgraded to the OLED.
Right.
But like, I hope, and it's probably a misplaced hope, it'll probably be an upgrade. I hope that there's a case that I hope this is OLED, this screen. But
it's a great question.
I don't know. I really don't know. Because like, I know one important thing for them is to keep the price point low.
For sure. Yeah.
And so it's like, obviously, because I don't even know how much the OLED Switch cost.
That's a good question.
I am going to type.
Let's see.
$349.99.
It's really not bad.
It's not bad. Super expensive. Because I mean, the Switch, I think we looked it up. Wasn't it $299 when it came out?
Yeah, I know we did. Yes.
It's only
$299 for the main Switch, and then $199 for the Switch Lite, which is very competitive. It's much smaller. It doesn't dock, of course. Yeah. So that's a great question. Could they, if they are, it's a
$50 difference. I mean, personally, I feel like that would be the move, but you just don't know. Like,
but if they are selling, okay, this is great. I love this. If they are selling the OLED original Switch for $350 in 2025, you can buy that right now. Will they, an OLED Switch 2 cannot still hit that price point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know.
So then if it is OLED by default, you're talking $400, $450, and that's a little steep for the family console.
Yeah, for family.
You know what I mean?
No, they probably won't go that high. I don't know though. I mean, I'm definitely interested because like I'm looking at the official page for the OLED now, and like it's interesting. It's almost like they use it as an experiment in between system iterations, which they probably did. Because like, the kickstand is like half of the back.
Yeah.
And they obviously didn't stick with that. And the screen at a glance looks a ton more like the screen that they announced today.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I don't know. Of course, I don't think, like you said, they didn't give specs. So this was a 7-inch OLED screen. So, I mean, obviously this one would be bigger.
Yeah, especially if the Joy-Cons are bigger, because the original I believe the OLED, it is a bigger screen, but because they expanded the panel, it's less bezel, more screen, but the form factor of the OLED Switch is most likely identical, I think, to the original. Yeah, this is really interesting. I think a lot of people are wondering about the screen, and that's unless manufacturing and Chinese factories and however that works. If they're going to produce a gajillion of these, and the margins are the more you make, the more you save, or whatever. Maybe they could get the price point closer in line with the discount the OLED Switch to 300 and make this 350, 375, and it has an OLED screen. Maybe.
Yeah. Excuse me. Interesting stuff. So let's talk about some other changes. So yeah, Joy-Cons are magnetic.
Yeah,
love that.
I love that.
Love that. I think that's going to be so much more comfortable and easier. A couple people have noticed that there is a button on the right Joy-Con underneath home that's unmarked.
Yep.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Some of the leaks were saying that it's labeled C, C as in cat. I don't know that is written on the official button as it's shown in the images, but it's still, even the leakers did not know what this button was for, which is really it's really interesting. I wonder.
Yeah, I don't either. That's an interesting one. I think it's funny because the Mashable article says like the internet is like has speculation. It's like voice chat. I was like,
right.
I don't know if that would be it.
There was some. I just don't want to say like leaks said this, whatever. But there was some speculation that there would be a microphone on the body of it, rather than. So it's. We owned a Switch for years, and then I went to my sister's house, and her son plays Fortnite, and they were like, "Oh yeah," and he chats with his friends, and I'm like, "What are you talking? How? What are you talking about? There's no microphone on the Switch." They're like, "No, he just plugs in a headset, and then he does voice chat." I'm like, "No, that's not a thing." And then he like shows me, and I'm like, "What the fuck?
That's a thing."
It's a thing, and I did, and this was a couple of years ago. I could have sworn that there was no mic capabilities on the Switch, and there is no. So what I understand now is that there is no mic on the hardware itself, but it does. If you aux in with a microphone headset, you can do voice chat in certain games, Fortnite being one of them, which is different from the Steam Deck because the Steam Deck has a microphone on it. You can voice chat, just talking to, you can talk into your Steam Deck if you want to, which I like. You got to make sure that mic is muted just in case. Check that setting if you don't care for that. Anyway, so yes, some speculation around, hey, this port might be a fan, or it might be a speaker, or maybe it is the microphone, and maybe this button is for the microphone. I don't know. It's a little because so many families and kids play the game, use this console. It's an interesting liability. I feel like they've gotten away. They've avoided that for so long. So I do wonder if it's a liability or a selling point in 2025.
Yeah, that is interesting to think about. And then Mario Kart 9, I guess. Obviously,
Question
the
mark?
next Mario Kart, whatever. I mean, they usually use numbers, so I'm assuming that would be it. The Mashable writer says this is definitely a different game. I trust them because I have almost never played Mario Kart and just never get into it. Like, it's just not my thing. So I have not, but you and your family have played Mario Kart.
Oh, absolutely. And I jokingly and mistakenly was like, wow, they're showing off this, the hottest console, and they're showing Mario Kart 8, which was released in 2014. They didn't show any new games. And then immediately, Tricky Love in our Discord was like, I think this is not 8. I think this is something else. And then, of course, the internet was like, zoomed right in on the footage, which was very scant, but basically it's showing tracks that are not in Mario Kart 8. it is showing potentially 24 carts on the track rather than the 12, which are the limit for Mario Kart 8.
Oh.
And they're noting that some of the character designs are slightly different and blah, blah, blah. So again, the internet sleuthing has clearly revealed, as you're pointing out from this article, that whatever they are showing here is not the same old Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Right.
It is something new. And yeah, I mean, look, they should launch this with a new Mario Kart. That should be definitely the system seller. Mario Kart 8 is like behind Tetris and Minecraft as like the most best-selling game of all time. Or it is the best-selling Nintendo game of all time, I believe. It's insane how many people own and play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on a regular basis. It's like mind-blowing the amount of people who have it and play it today in 2025. So like launching with the new one is the right thing to do for sure.
For sure.
Pack it in with the box. I mean, so that's interesting. Maybe if you are paying $350, $400, but you get Mario Kart packed in, that's good. That would be a good deal.
That might be worth it. I guess we'll just have to see what they choose to do. But it's interesting. I mean, I know it's not a lot of information. I know it's not really anything, that we didn't know from leaks. But I mean, to me, it's exciting to have the official announcement.
It is.
Like I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad we're like, okay, finally this ride's starting, even though it's going to be a while, until they're like, let's, like take pre-orders. So
yeah, right. So no pre-orders are not open. Backing up briefly, I think there's two more. Let me say two more things. One is there are two USB ports. One is on USB-C. One is on the top, and one is on the bottom, which is great because it's so stupid to charge your Switch on the bottom port if you're playing handheld. It's much nicer to charge on the top. So, dock it on the bottom, charge it on the top. Great. Still has aux for headphones, which is so important for game consoles because Bluetooth sucks and has latency. And so, you can't get good audio. You can't play games over Bluetooth headphones. Like you can, but you're going to have like audio delay. You're going to, if it doesn't bother you, who cares? But like, your audio and video will not be in sync. There's technological reasons why that is very hard / impossible to do with Bluetooth technology as it currently stands. So you need that cord, or you need a 2.4 gigahertz transmitter. And they share that there will be in-person events. So they're saying April 2nd, there will be a Nintendo Direct with something. More details, maybe the reveal of a game. We don't know. There's like no information. They're just like, here it is. See you on the 2nd of April. And this is all we have. And then additionally, they are showing that they're promoting that there will be in-store experiences.
Right. New York. Okay, wait. So what I'm looking at first, I thought it was just New York, Los Angeles, Dallas.
Yes.
But then it looks like there's a thread on Reddit where someone else figured that there's going to be rotating banner of locations at the bottom of the page. It ends with Seoul, Korea on June 1st.
Oh yeah,
yes, I see it now.
I see that now. Okay.
So it is actually. These go on until that's the latest date. New
Madrid,
York, Paris,
Amsterdam,
Melbourne, Madrid.
Paris,
there's a lot of locales.
So I am going to do my best. I don't know how this is going to be divvied up. Like, if is it first come first serve, or is it a lottery or something? Like, I'm going to try to register tomorrow, which is Friday, for the New York experience, which happens April 4th to April 6th. And, hey, maybe I'll get in there and see something in the store or touch it or something. That'd be cool. But so basically they're like, here it is. The leaks were right. Talk to you in April. And then now they're showing all these experiences, which is like, they're not going to be doing hands-on experiences when the Switch is already out. So what we're looking at here is like, this goes all the way through the end of April, possibly into May. And so are we not going to get the console until May or June?
I mean, yeah, like this says get hands-on with the Nintendo Switch. So you'll definitely get to play it.
You'll touch it and play it, yeah.
But I don't think I don't think we'll actually be able to buy it for a minute. I really don't. Because that same Reddit thread also said that like they started this rollout the year before the Switch was buyable. So it makes me think that
for the
it might not be right.
Yeah.
It makes me think that it might not be until late this year or next, but I think next would kind of be bad. So I really hope it's this
for
year.
sure. No, they do say 2025 in the announcement. Like I think it is official.
Did they? Okay.
I should get a first look at the Nintendo Switch system. Releasing in 2025, yes. So, yeah, but I always thought it would be April, like they would release it in April. But like May, June, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Yep, might be a while yet, but I mean, even if you got it today, what are you going to play on it? They need to finish all their flagship games. So
absolutely.
I'm just like, look, if I get like 2026 Animal Crossing, I'm going to be real happy.
Oh my God. No, I would play all the existing games. I would play my massive catalog and
That's fair.
backlog of Switch games, and I would fire up Tears of the Kingdom and say like, all right, does this run at 60 frames now? Because that would be amazing. I do. So speaking of, they make it very clear in the video and on the website, quote, you can play Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games as well as Nintendo Switch games on Nintendo Switch 2 asterisk. Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games.
Okay.
So the cartridges are the same, I believe. They're showing that the cartridges are identical. But here's what's interesting. Certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date. Nintendo Switch Online members can continue using the service on Nintendo Switch 2. So this is great, and I think we expected this and knew this for a while. I'm really curious what it means when they say certain games, and is that like a hardware limitation, or is this like an architecture something where most games will run fine / better, but some of them are going to be janky and need like manual upgrading or something? I am curious about this.
Yep. We will see. Well, please report back if you happen to make it into this event. I think it would be super cool to have someone, be able to go and check it all out.
I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow at the time when the registration opens. So I'm going to be sitting in a waiting room and then
madly clicking.
PA is going to come in and be like, thank you. Just one moment, please. I'm registering for the Nintendo experience. I'll be right with you. And then I'll make them wait for a change, huh? Yeah, doctor's offices. Have a taste of your own medicine.
Boy, good times.
Oh, the last thing. They show the Joy-Cons being used as like a computer mouse, which was also speculated from various leaks. And I think that's really compelling and really interesting.
Yeah, I don't really know how that would be used. I'm very curious how that would be, how the application would be used.
You turn the Joy-Con on its side. You put your finger on the clicky click, and then you play Civilization 7 on your couch while you're laying back in your couch, and then you're just going zoop 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 with your little mouse cursor, and that's what we're doing.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Yeah, you can tell that I don't really play a lot of point and click anymore because I didn't even think of
neither
that.
do I. I almost never do mouse and keyboard. And controller support has become so amazing, even for like rich 4X strategy sim games like Civ 6 is amazing on an iPad, and it's really good on a controller if you play it that way. So like, I want more games to have control. I don't want PC games without controller support to be ported to the Switch and continue to have no controller support, but it would be interesting to see if the catalog of console games could be expanded by integrating mouse cursor support natively. It's
that
just
is
weird.
Pretty interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
And is here's the other thing. Nintendo is going to make some sort of first party game that utilizes the mouse configuration in fun, creative, silly ways. What's the Wii Sports going to be for the Switch 2?
Yeah, something interesting, to say the least.
Come on, Nintendo, you can do it.
Oh, they always can do it.
They always do it. I think that covers everything. Was there anything else that stuck out to you? I'm looking through this stuff. For now.
Only for now.
I guess final thoughts here, questions here, like, do you think it will be radio silence from Nintendo between now and April 2nd? Are we going to get anything else about games or hardware, or the thing that's not shown or explained here is the guts, the tech, the upscaling, which is going to be the key to making this console powerful and future-proof? And we don't get it. It's just we don't get it from this fun animation, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Nintendo always push forward later or traditionally, I should say, they've always pushed forward a little later than other platforms. But I feel like, they're overdue for the push. So they got to do it, No,
like, I think they are. Really I think they are doing it. But I guess, are we going to sit and wonder for 2 months? Through 2.5 months with no information, and then April 2nd they're gonna be like, here's everything, buy it in June. I guess it's just it's not to be like a spoiled brat about it, but like, it's so long to wait. I mean, with no info.
It is, but I mean, guess what? They know you're gonna wait.
Oh, for sure.
They know you're gonna wait. Yep.
Well, we'll be waiting with you. I don't know. Do you want to talk? I don't really have any big games to talk about. Maybe do you want to save our games for the future? We want to do like most anticipated games for 2025. I think we were probably going to talk about that here, but obviously Switch 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I did briefly, because I had a cool conversation this week. I wanted to talk about.
Oh, yes, please do.
So I told Matt before the show, I didn't play anything new this week. I did decide to pick Hades 2 back up and play it because I'm frustrated that I haven't beaten Chronos yet. And I did a few more runs and I still haven't beaten Chronos. And I feel like I'm just bad at video games and it's very frustrating.
So bad. I would say you're the worst at video games, honestly.
That much trouble beating Hades, honestly. Like, I mean, it was challenging, but like in a good way.
Do you think Hades 2 is harder? Is it notably harder?
I also think that I might be the kind of person who's like best to look up builds online instead of trying to make them myself. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm a strategic thinker when it comes to games, and I think that can be against me sometimes.
Okay.
Like, I think sometimes I enjoy the hack and slash part of it more, and then I'll be like, oh, that'd be cool. Oh, this would be cool to build. Yeah. And then it's I don't know if it's the best, So maybe I'll try a guide and see. But at any rate, so I had a really cool work experience that turned into a game experience yesterday, which we all love when that happens. So I had an interview with a sex educator who is the best type of Playboy interview, honestly. Like, she's perfect for Playboy. And her name is Zoe Ligon. Some of the people listening might already know her, but her nickname for herself is the Dildo Duchess. She has her own sex toy shop, which she founded. She has written a book about sex education, like, fucking cool person, right? So, like, we're just back and forthing about all kinds of things. And then at some point, like, she says something about horror, and I say, oh yeah, like, I'm a fan, I love horror games, film, etc. And she's like, oh really? She's like, I just got a Steam Deck. And I've been playing like, horror games on. I was like, whoa. And so like we immediately had that spark and started talking. So she told me about a game that I looked up, and I haven't played it yet, but I may download it and play it tonight. That's called
Silent Hill 2.
Right. It's called Mouthwashing. I've never heard of it.
Oh, yes. I've been hearing about this.
You've heard about it?
Yeah.
So the summary of it is 5 crew members of the Tulpar are stranded in the empty reaches of space, shrouded in perpetual sunset. God is not watching. It has overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently,
this has been on many Game of the Year lists. It's a very this is not a cult following, but it's like this feels to me like a breakout indie horror hit.
Well, it's funny because there's a little banner that says like we've sold 300,000 copies, and I'm like, I think for an indie game that's a lot.
That's certainly
like this
pretty
is
good.
a very, very, very indie game. Like it looks like a PS1 game. You know, it's got
a good
aesthetic.
Maybe
maybe PS1 to PS2. It's like blocky and whatever. But like I looked at this game and I was just like, what the fuck? Like this is like all the what the fuckery that I like. Like it's like the people stranded on the ship is like very alien, but then like the aesthetic is very like, I don't know, poppy and weird and a little too bright and kind of, it's got some like weird juxtaposition that reminds me a little bit of like Happy Humble's Burger Farm, which I played forever ago. When I started streaming, like it just looks wild. And then she and I exchanged like little email lists of favorites. We're like, oh, try this. And that was super fun. And she had a couple of other suggestions for me that I was like, whoa, I've never heard of that. Like I was like, you have to play World of Horror. And she's like, oh my God, like this is on my list. Like it's that really fun, like OMG, like you like this and I like this moment, right? But she suggested a couple of other games to me. And one of them that she suggested, I'm like, that looks pretty fun, was called Buckshot Roulette. Play Russian roulette with a 12 gauge shotgun. 4 enter, 1 leaves. Roll the dice with your life. Good luck. I was like, what a trip.
Is that a multiplayer game? Because that would be pretty
I don't
fun
know.
to play with friends.
Let me look and see if it is. But it's another overwhelmingly positive. It has online PvP.
Oh, yeah. Great.
And then the third game she recommended that I was like, this also looks tremendously fucking weird, is called Arctic Eggs.
Yes.
It also looks like painfully PS1, like it's blurry.
Yeah.
It's published by the same people that published Mouthwashing.
Oh, same publisher. Interesting. Yeah, no, these are both big hits. Look, you've been so busy. I feel like I'm surprised these have not hit your radar sooner.
No, I have been super busy with work, so like I haven't really. But like at first I was like, what the fuck is this game about? Like I love looking at a game and being like, I don't know what I'm looking at. So this is what the summary says. Embrace the truth in Arctic Eggs, or the tale of the modern Odysseus. Slip into the boots of a humble poultry peddler, stripped of rank for crimes forgotten. Pan in hand, set forth and feed the hungry inhabitants of this humble habitat. It's all in the wrist. So basically you're just cooking for people, but like you look at the game and you're like, what? Like, and it's like everyone has a story. So like you can cook, but you can also like listen to the story of the people that you talk to if you so desire.
I will not be playing Arctic Eggs because if I wanted to pretend to live in a frozen hellscape and cook eggs for people, I would just wake up and live my real life, because that is already what my life is. Okay?
You're probably in that time of year already where like your bones are cold.
That my bones are cold, and I make fried and scrambled eggs for people who do not eat them. And that is my life.
Wow. Parenting.
So have you started mouthwashing at all? Or
no, I haven't even bought it yet.
Or bought it? Yeah.
And, well, this conversation happened yesterday. And so like, we talked about it. I went and I looked up everything she sent on her list. I was like, dope, this looks cool. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to play this weekend. And because, I know tomorrow is going to be crazy at work too. So I just added it to my wish list, but I have not clicked download yet. Also, I got paid today. So I'm like, well, I guess, now's the time if I'm going to do it. I almost want to wait and play it with Patrick because it's clearly not a long game, but it just seems like it would be a trip and like what, like it'd be fun to play with quote unquote someone else, even if like, even if one of you is just playing and one of you is watching, it just seems like it would be
for
fun.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
But this snippet of a review fascinates me. It says, it is hard to make a review of a game that really needs to be experienced with as little knowledge about it as possible. Because mouthwashing, if anything, it's a piece of art that shows how video games can do some things in the storytelling department that other forms of narrative art simply can't. I'm like, man, that's a glowing review. I don't know if I agree with all of it, but I'm definitely like, this is wild. I want to experience something where I'm like, I have no idea like what I'm going to experience.
I think it becomes,
I always have loved that.
From what I understand, I don't think this is spoilers, but like from what I've been hearing about it, it's like this thing is a big mindfuck. Like the twists and turns that it does in the horror way are you should absolutely be playing this. Like you can't miss this one, I think, for you.
Well, I think I might just install it after the podcast tonight because I don't really have any plans, and I kind of just want to have the experience. So, it's 3 hours long. I can always play it again if I want Patrick to see it.
Oh, and it's really right. It's only 3 hours. Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I'm assuming because
like, based on what people are saying,
if you look at the, how everyone's reviews say how many hours on record, it's either like 2.9, 3.7, 1.9, 2.8. Like,
I didn't realize it was that short.
It's varying a little, but it's like, well, see, I don't mind though. 'Cause I'm of the like, hey, it's 3 hours. I could actually finish that.
Totally.
And I often don't finish things.
Yeah, so. I don't mean to diminish short games. They're great. It's just when I seek out games, I'm like, I want to really get into it, and so. But yeah.
Yeah.
So all right. This
hopefully
great.
I can report back next week. That would be fun to be able to do that.
You've made a new friend. You've gotten some excellent recommendations. There's nothing better.
I dork out so hard when someone's like, "Oh, I like indie horror games." I'm like, "Oh, me too."
And you push your glasses up together. It's great.
Yeah, basically, that's what I do. So, anyway, perhaps I'll do some interesting horror diving tonight. And you said earlier that you haven't really been playing anything this week, yeah?
No, I mean, I have just been playing things I've already been playing, still making progress with Baldur's Gate, just dabbling. It's not great for the podcast, but I've been going back and exploring a lot of Steam games that I already own that I've gotten away from or never quite, dug in on. And, your vibe is different. You're craving a certain different kind of game. And you're like, wait a minute, I already own 3 games that are like that. Maybe I should check those out. So it's been nice, but there's nothing new to report. Here's my, rather than talk about a game, here's one final question for you and or the listeners is, I think I might have access to a month of PC Game Pass, which I've never done, but I installed the Xbox app, and I'm like, you know what? If I launch this on my TV as a monitor, I can use my controller to like click on the game and launch the game.
Yeah, you totally can.
So like, I'm not tied to the desk to do that. So now, I have been periodically poking at the catalog of PC Game Pass games. And it's very funny because I'm like, all right, what could I play in a month? And then I'm scrolling and what am I actually interested in? And then I'm scrolling and I'm like, oh, right, I already own this game on Steam. I would love to play this game. Wait, I already own it, or I've already played it, or blah, blah, blah. The only thing, so for me, it's going to be like, recommend me something that's currently on Game Pass that is finishable in a month that I would really like. And or maybe I'll just play Indiana Jones for the month and just play that for free, because it's not a game that I don't want it enough to buy it for $70. But if it was free on Game Pass for a free trial, maybe I would just do that, so I don't know. I'm just doing the math on this and thinking, if anyone has recommendations. Again, I'm scrolling through the catalog and I'm just like, everything I want, I have already played. Truly, it's
Yeah.
kind of it's a
I
first
think
world
that's
problem.
yeah, that's part of the issue. Honestly, is that I think because like I was playing Coral Island very devotedly on it for a pretty long time, on and
Okay.
off, and then the last time I went to go play it, they were like, "This game is no longer available."
That's
on
what
Game
I'm
Pass.
worried about. I'm worried
And
about that.
I was like, I put like 50 hours in this game.
Yeah.
So I have to sign in on my other computer that has all my info on it. But I was like, so if I buy it here, like, can I keep playing it and will it have my save stuff in the cloud? I'm assuming it will.
The saves will save, but you would have to purchase it. And this is the other question. It's like, okay, well, I played on Game Pass and now I want to purchase it on Steam to play it on Steam Deck or something else. It's like, it depends on the game if the saves are cross compatible. It's a bit of a mess for people like us and listeners who like to play a lot of different games and then like to invest a lot of hours in a lot of games. Game Pass is a weird one. It's a weird equation.
For sure. Yeah, it is. I haven't fired it up in a while. Actually, like us having this conversation, and I was just looking at my budget a couple days ago, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm still getting charged for Game Pass. I should probably open that up sometime."
Sure. Botany Manor is here. I know that was one that you wanted to play. Maybe you already tried it.
I bounced off it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know why though, but like I don't know. You ever just feel in that mood where you're like, I'm just going to fire up some random games tonight, like that I don't normally fire up. So I think I might do that tonight.
And we need to do that more because hopefully you're like, oh wow, okay. What is this? I never thought about this.
Right.
This is cool.
Guess what I fired up? It's like, that's
break out of the mold a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Disneyland Adventures. I just don't think I'm going to play Disneyland Adventures.
Okay, wait. You said so. What were the things that you said were your like? These are my perimeters for. I need something to play from the PC Game Pass library.
Something that I just want to. Go hard on something and really enjoy it. And also, it can't be exactly what you described with Coral Island of like 50 hours in and then I stop because I'm not going to continue paying for Game Pass after the free trial. So,
right. So you're like, what could I play?
I want to finish or be satisfied with something after a month. And like a narrative game like Indiana Jones, it probably fits the bill,
You bought Astroneer, didn't you? Or did you play it?
Yes, and I really like Astroneer, and I would like to go back to it. But yes, I own it. I think I own it twice, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Control is really, really good. I don't know if that's your kind of game, though.
I've played it. I loved it, but got stuck and didn't come back. I should go back. Yeah, we don't have to answer this now. It's more of an open-ended, like
maybe the listeners might know.
Yeah,
now
recommend me a game.
I'm curiously looking, I'm like, oh, well, what is in here? So
Neon White is a game that I've always wanted to play and just never was like, I'm going to buy this, so that might make the list. Chance of Sinar also is very appealing to me.
I haven't played it, but I've absolutely looked at it for the way it looks. Flock, I've thought about Flock. I've thought about Frostpunk a bunch of times, even though I feel like I'm not going to be able to manage that game. But it is free in here, so I'm both of them. So I'm like, well, why not try it?
So Frostpunk has controller support.
I don't know.
I'm going to take
that's a good question.
Anyway, we'll get out of here. Listeners, hop into the Discord. You know where to find us. All the links to our Discord community, which is buzzing as always about the Switch 2, of course, and the games that we are excited to play, and social medias, YouTube channel, all the things are in the show notes of every single episode. Please recommend me a game on PC Game Pass that I can finish in a month. Does Frostpunk? No controller support on Frostpunk, though playable on Steam Deck.
Did you ever finish Kunitsugami? Because it's on there.
I need to go back to Kunitsugami. I really do. Obviously, it was in my top 5 of 2024.
Yeah, you really liked that. So I mean, there's always that. If you want to go back to something, though, that's the question.
I do need to go back. Yeah, I mean, I own it, so I would just play it on Steam. But yeah, that is on the list of going back to games. I'm a bit bummed because I tried to go back to it a little while ago, and I was like, what the fuck am I don't know. What am I doing? How many villagers do I have? What is this power? I have no idea where I was. And that's a bummer because it's great. It's a spectacular game that I would like to finish at some point. Yeah. Anyway.
Very good.
Connect with us. We love you. Thanks for listening. We hope you're excited about Switch 2. Let us know the features or games that you are most excited about, or were you disappointed? Were you deflated because you knew everything already from leakers? It's an interesting time. My wife thinks that Nintendo leaked it on purpose to build hype. And then I was possible. It's possible, but it's very un-Nintendo. Do you think a buttoned up Japanese company plays those games or no?
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess they could, play those games and pretend like they don't play those games.
Yes, exactly.
I guess that's possible.
Because it's months of hype and buzz that trickle out and then a big reveal.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's possible, but doubtful.
I thought so as well. Doubtful. Let us know your thoughts, of course, and we will talk with you in 1 week's time.